right down about 2 blocks before Lake Street, there's some Kia there it's going towards St. Paul east. And the guy, somebody must have hit him on park. The front of the Kia is gone.
Yeah.
And it was, the SUV was down a little, turned sideways. And man alive, we got a lot of people who are trying to hit that light when she's pretty red, I think. Anyway, that's...
Let's do something.
Let me give you one more thing that happened.
Yeah,
yesterday.
you've had a hell of a time.
Yeah, so the wife and I, you ever driven around Cedar Lake there in Minneapolis? It's not a great...
Not together.
Not a big trip, but we're taking our time. We're driving around Cedar Lake Sunday afternoon. Everybody's going 20 miles.
And you don't
an
like
hour.
when people are out on the afternoons on Sundays.
Gorgeous day.
Right.
Stay home. Gorgeous day. But some guy, all of a sudden, a big old truck comes roaring around these 2 cars on one of these curves. If I didn't hit my brakes, we get hit head on.
Yeah.
We're the first people to ever get killed with a head-on collision on the Cedar Lake Parkway, where everybody's going 18 and looking at the sights on a Sunday afternoon. Oof. Unbelievable.
We've got a new roundabout, which I know you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
And when you come down from Hayden, New Prague into town, the oncoming traffic is obviously supposed to yield to you merging onto 21. Every time I take it, I'm almost ran into. Every single time.
Yes.
And I thought this morning, Joe and Pat do not approve of this roundabout.
I don't like roundabouts.
Do you think how much money this state would still have in its highway fund if nobody ever built a roundabout?
Yep.
It's ungodly billions of dollars for these dumbass things that we all, there's just as many accidents on roundabouts as there are any other place.
You got to add it.
Because you got to, instead, you used to come up to the light, you'd look, you'd be guy. All you had to do is look left and right, basically. Once in a while, if there's a turn lane. Now you got to look 6 directions before they come. Okay. I tell you the one, I'm driving, Katie and I are going up to Western Wisconsin to see the relatives, and we're on back one of these unfamiliar roads up there by Danbury, and they got a roundabout. So I started at the roundabout, and suddenly the cars are coming at me, because this roundabout, you're supposed to go down like a half a mile and then come back.
Oh.
That's the time saver they got there.
Yeah.
Is they want the traffic to keep moving, so we got to risk our life and go down and make a U-turn. Anyway. The commute was not what it's supposed to be the last couple of days, so I'm a little upset.
Let's do something we've never done.
What's that?
Talk sports.
Well, we haven't done much of that. Let's analyze the Darnold situation without predicting a Super Bowl.
But he had an MRI today, right on the knee.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right.
Sore knee. I didn't even see the injury, but my goodness, mobility is a good thing, Joe.
Third player drafted overall in 2018.
Yes.
All right. Did he ever play with a team long enough to be considered a failure?
The Jets, right? The Jets.
Drafted him originally. Yep.
And they just said, you don't have it.
Well, they made him play right away, and they didn't do well.
Right.
And they gave up on him right away.
He's been given up on. Then he went to the Panthers.
Yep, he was traded to the Panthers.
Was he given up on there?
Yes, but he also had, what's his name, that's now with Nebraska, who was not an NFL coach. His case, in my opinion, is a perfect example of everything about the quarterback play is really predicated on having good structure, including a head coach and weapons.
Okay, he went to Frisco. They got a good organization.
But he never went there as a starter.
He was the backup.
He was going to be the backup there all along.
Okay.
And played okay when he played. Right.
So what I'm driving at is I personally am not ready yet to crown his ass.
To crown his ass?
Well, I do have a bit of breaking news.
I want to.
From our guy, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network just tweeted about an hour ago. Sam Darnold's MRI revealed a knee bruise and no structural damage per a source.
Very good. I don't think anybody thought it was serious, but when you land on that turf, you got to check it out, right? Yep. So he will play this week. But
and
Joe, it is the whole idea, and I've been preaching on this. When you and I were youth following the Twins, following the Vikings, following the NFL, nobody came out of college and played right away. Dan Marino was the closest. I think he didn't. They had him sit for a couple of years.
Did Elway play right away?
Maybe, but Dan Marino took his team to the Super Bowl the first year, right? Never played again. Never made the Super Bowl again. But they were the rare case. Now all these guys, because quarterbacks are making so damn much money, the advantage is for 4 years you don't really have to pay them. Although when Darnold came in, I guess we already had this situation. But they start playing these guys right away. And it's a complicated
which is why he's here, because they weren't going to play the kid they were going to draft in the first place, McCarthy.
Yeah.
They were going to let him sit.
Yes, which was a good strategy. And Aaron Rodgers didn't play for 3 years, but financially, they can't do that now because they want to take advantage of them when they're cheap, if they can play. But Carolina had the number 1 pick last year, took this Bryce Young. They just benched him because he was awful last year.
And they won yesterday.
Awful.
Did Josh Allen play right away? He was the 7th pick.
Well, I can tell you his first start. He didn't start the first couple of games. His first start was here when the Vikings were an 18.5-point favorite and the Bills kicked their ass.
But only not because of him being great, right?
Well, just because the Vikings were a dysfunctional mess.
But here's the thing with Josh Allen. It was a very good, they drafted him for his physical ability, but the first year, half of his passes left the ballpark. Yeah. He couldn't, he was just this big. He was a guy that should have been, nurtured, but they didn't nurture him. But it turned out he was a tough enough guy and enough of a physical freak that the fact that he had a bad first season didn't screw him up. But some of these guys can't handle it, getting the hell. The other thing about Josh Allen is when he gets hit, the guy hitting him might get hurt worse than him.
Right.
I mean, most of them, they start getting hit too much. David Carr being an example. Hey, down in Houston, his life was in danger when he started playing, and he never was worth a damn.
So 3 games, though, is too early to say.
Yes.
This is the way. But
the fact that he's mobile and has a strong arm and he's not a standing target like Kirk was. And he's also, it seems, more comfortable with people around him than Kirk was. Don't you think?
Kirk did not have a good game last night.
He had 2 chances. They were down.
You got 4th and inches to win the game.
Kirk's lucky Kirk came back against the Eagles, or Kirk might be sitting on the bench next week.
Well, but not only were they down there at the end of the game, they were 3 minutes earlier. They were down there at the game, and he missed the guy in the end zone. So that's.
Well, I was never a Kirk Cousins guy.
Nope, me either.
But
I'm willing to be a Darnold guy.
Yeah, he's a guy.
He's a guy.
Oh, he seems like a nice fella. I don't know anything about him, but I'll tell you what, though, the secret. We got 2 things going on here, right? We got the Twins collapse.
We'll get to that.
And the Vikings phenomenon, but I want to say this. We are focused on Darnold and the offense, but the thing going on out there is the defense.
Oh my God,
is maniacal.
Yeah, they are good.
And we're focused on the Twins with the pitching and not getting pitching help, but they can't score a run is the real issue. So we got anyway. The defense the Vikings are playing is ungodly.
Well, I hope the fans enjoy the final season of Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator, because he's getting a job next year.
I don't think he's going to have to sue to get a job this time.
He's going to get a job. Man, the thing that's impressive about their defense, boys, is the fact that it's not just one guy.
Well, the thing about
each week it's a different guy.
The other thing is they got depth. They got about 18 guys that they play.
And you can do that when you don't have a $40 million quarterback on your roster.
Judd was just telling me that you looked up, and for Hunter and And
Kirk
Cousins, they got 10 players.
Wow.
They brought in 10 players for the cost of those two guys. So, and here's a funny thing. You just brought it up, though. A week ago, we had Van Ginkel fever. Now we got Grenard fever because he had 3 sacks yesterday. So all these, not only did they bring in new guys, they were right about the guys they brought in.
I wonder if their game at Green Bay will be flexed.
Ooh, I bet it will be. At least to an afternoon, right?
Oh, it's a noon game.
No, but I mean, at least a 3:25.
I don't think we start flexing yet, though.
Do we not do that yet?
I think we'd flex later, Joe.
Oh, maybe when it's a race is at stake.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't
you know what? It's not. It's not flex season yet.
Is it on regular television?
Oh, it's a Sunday game. I'm sure it is.
Can find it.
I believe so.
Now, was it yesterday? What game couldn't I find last night? I had to go to
for NFL.
Yeah,
last night was ESPN.
No, NBC.
No, I'm sorry, NBC.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess
Well, the Vikings game was on CBS yesterday.
My TV was messed up. It wouldn't show me where the football game. Well, I found it anyway. I didn't watch that much of it, but anyway, yeah, it was. We were trying to think of when the last time they had such a 60-minute impressive effort.
And Houston's good.
Houston was favorite.
Yes.
2-point favorites. People thought.
Well, what did Stroud play in school?
Ohio State.
And he was of all those young quarterbacks drafted last year. He became the phenomenon.
Yeah.
And took a Texans team that was absolutely supposed to be rebuilding and made them good. And now they're supposed to be good, and they got their asses kicked.
Well, they really did.
Oh, man, it was a whooping.
And so did the Twins. What the hell?
Boy, is that a change of pace. Yes. 17-4, was it?
Can I ask you a question in all honesty? Because Kenny, of all people, before Garage Logic today, Kenny brought this up. Not me, not John, not the mayor. Kenny said, was Rocco managing that game like he's trying to get fired?
Well, I don't know. I mean, first of all, you send out Pop, and he's your ace. And now people are, I got this Twitter stuff that this is all on the poll ads. The whole thing's on the poll ads. I said, okay, maybe big picture, but little picture. They saw Pablo pitch 3 games and ran down the hallway and gave him $75 million at Yankee Stadium. And he's your guy. And this is the biggest moment of the year, starting a doubleheader on Sunday. And he gives up 3 in the first and 4 in the second. In the fourth, it's not the Polad's fault that Pablo wet the bed. Okay. And everybody said, well, there shouldn't be that much responsibility on 1 or 2 pitchers. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been that way. I've only been following it since the mid-50s, but it's been that way since then. You send out Bert Blyleven and you send out Frankie Viola for the World Series. There's a whole lot of responsibility on those 2 guys, no matter what the supporting cast is. And they puked yesterday because Pablo puked. Although, then again, they scored 3 runs, 4 runs?
Yeah.
Here was my Twins TV watching yesterday, though. I saw just a little bit of the first game. Second game, I sit down, okay. I get home from the Luke birthday party and sit down, and I turn it on, and the Twins are leading 2-0. And 40 seconds later, they are trailing 3-2 because this lefty we just got throws the biggest puke changeup in the history of baseball right in the middle of the plate. And even as mad as the Fenway crowd is at the Red Sox, they started cheering when the ball was 2 feet off the bat because they knew it was going out of the ballpark. So I turned them off. I turned it back on sometime later, maybe an hour later, And 10 seconds later, Cole Sands hits a guy with a pitch with the bases loaded. That's what I've seen so far of that game today. So,
okay, you mentioned the pull ads, Patrick. Here's what I gathered from what's happening in the last what's it been 3 weeks since we started puking down our shirts.
Well, no, August 17th. Since then, since August 18th, they're 11-22.
This is the baseball gods saying, you know what? When you announce you're reducing payroll to that degree, we are not going to reward you.
Yeah, I don't think it's the baseball gods. I think, it is. I mean, obviously.
Detroit sold at the deadline.
Yeah, I know, but that's all based on pitching. They weren't cheap as far as hitters are concerned. And
you're talking about the Twins. Okay.
They weren't cheap. The money was invested in hitters, right?
Sure.
And Correa, Buxton, blah, blah, blah. When you sign them, you're going to miss them. But that, the hitting has been just as big a problem as pitching through this collapse, maybe more so. And so that's, the other thing is, if you sell a baseball team now, even in this mediocre baseball market with this outdoor stadium, it's going to be 1.2, right?
Sure.
1.2.
Yeah.
Well, they sell 1.2. Somebody's going to pay them 1.2 and then march in here and say, we're going to have a $200 million payroll. You think that's going to happen?
Probably not.
Probably not, especially with no TV deal.
So the Twins have
I'm not defending them because they were stupid. The stupidest thing being, hey, look at us. We're cutting payroll by $30 million. But it's a whole new era of baseball. Just ask me and Juice Sutton.
Look at our new unis.
Yeah, look at that. Look at this hat. Ain't that hat something?
Do the Twins have a de facto GM?
Well, no, it's not de facto. It's Derek Felby. He's running it, but he doesn't have control of the purse strings. Although there are rumors he might become the president.
Really?
Yeah.
What will happen to David?
David would
retire.
He's senior vice president, senior executive consultant or something. Now, maybe that wouldn't happen yet. But listen, David, somebody's going to take the fall for the fact that their season tickets are going to go to an all-time low after this season.
Oh, for sure. I know people personally that said, to hell with them. I'm done.
Yeah.
And these are the most diehard baseball people I know that are saying that.
The funny thing is, now maybe it works against them when the playoffs are this generous, but it's never been easier to succeed.
Qualify.
Yeah.
And they still could. They're a game back. They could still
but
do
they
it.
got to go 5-1 this week minimum.
Yeah.
Although Kansas City, you want to collapse that's man.
Do we have any game against the Whiteys left? Are we done with the Whiteys?
The Whiteys, the Tigers are home with Tampa, which is done.
Oof.
And probably doesn't give a damn. And then they close with the mighty Whiteys, 3 in Tiger Stadium.
Oh, they got that.
Close. So the worst they're going to go is 5-1 this week.
Oof.
So you got to go 5. Kansas City has got, I think Kansas City might have to go to Baltimore or play Baltimore, which is not playing good. But
they're still a decent.
Oh, God, they're a good club. And then I don't know who else Kansas City. But say goodbye to Detroit. By the way, the mighty Whiteys, they gave it their all, damn it. They played the Padres down to the wire like 3 times and then ended up losing them all.
Have you been following the Chicago White Sox Twitter account? They've been a blast over the weekend. They basically just said, we did not score more runs than the other team. They're not giving out the stats or anything like that. Wow. They just are basically saying, we know we stink.
Are they going to even draw 1 million, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Will they?
Oh, I think they're.
Let me look it up. That's a good question.
I bet they already did.
They've had a couple games with 3 people.
Yeah, but there's a difference between what they announce.
Yeah, I know.
Every ticket you sold but I don't. No matter how many people have been there, it's more than they deserve.
Patrick's right. Through 74 dates, the White Sox have 1.3 million. However, one team that might not get there is your Oakland A's.
Yeah.
In their final run at Oakland Alameda Coliseum,
took that on them.
They only have had 809,000.
And they're done. They had their last home game ever Sunday.
Oh, was that? Oh, that right. The Eckersley and Ricky Henderson photo. That was pretty cool.
Ricky's daughter threw out the first pitch.
Right. Dennis is getting a little old.
Who?
Dennis,
are you losing your urges?
Yeah, I don't have urges.
Really?
I mean, I should lower my standards, right, for my urges, but I don't know. He looks a little old.
He's had a rough, weird story with the daughter.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
I don't know what the details are, but
it's sad. It's very sad.
The yak.
Didn't it take a long time for the yak to come up with a Mrs. Eck? I don't know.
Are you saying he might have had
I
options?
think he had options, back in the day. But what was the daughter die?
Didn't she give birth out in the woods or something?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. She became a
hippie or I don't know, homeless.
Right.
But the baby did not survive. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. No. I was trying to steer you away from that. But the Twins, by the way, are 23rd in attendance.
Yes,
at 1.8 through 70. What do we got? 75 dates.
It's only 6 games left.
And by the way, tickets are available. Kenny Cha, who's the secret, any success the Star Tribune sports staff has is because Kenny's inside making it work, right? He's crazy. He can watch all the games, move copy, edit copy, do everything. But Kenny is the most diehard fan of fans. Wisconsin, where he went, of course, he's a big fan.
Who are you talking about?
Kenny Cha, our worker. Anyway, Kenny got his Wednesday tickets, and because he's off Wednesdays, I'm not going to use them. He's protesting. He's gonna paste them to a garbage can top.
That's my guy Frank used to do that.
Right. Then we're back to Frank.
Yeah.
We're back to Frank. Was it under the garbage on the top?
No, he was sitting next to somebody, wasn't he? Sitting next to somebody?
No. Frank found tickets taped to the bottom of the garbage can. As you took the lid off, you'd see them. And he would go to the Twins game. And one time Howard Fox is near him.
And Chris, you must realize that Howard was one of the most always immaculately dressed and one of the most pompous guys that ever lived.
And Howard turned to Frank, and Frank was there with his kid, and Howard said, "Season ticket holder?" Frank said, "Nope, found him taped to the garbage can on my route."
And I'm sure
I got Frank in Sports Illustrated. He was in Sports Illustrated.
And I bet Howard thought he was joshing, but he wasn't.
No.
It was meant to, I would have, I would have given a crisp $50 bill to be standing
just to
there
see
with
Howard's face.
Yeah, right. That would have been great for Howard. Yeah, neither you or I were big fans of Yvonne. Yvonne was a gorgeous woman. And
is that Howard's wife?
Howard's wife.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I started taking shots at him. Ooh, it didn't work out well. She was.
Howard we weren't Howard's cup of tea.
No, we weren't. For a while when I traveled with him, we were fine because, hey, he could take care of a guy we flew on the charters from 74 through 7. And by the second year, we had little bottles of Tanqueray gin in there. So that's buying the affections of a ball rider, right?
Good publicity.
Yeah, that's right. But as the years went on, it got a little rough. So
I had a line I still like that I wrote, but it really, it ended any chance.
Tells you what you could get away with back in the day.
I said Howard was there just to place the mint on Calvin's pillow.
That's probably.
Now is Howard still with us?
Oh no, he died, but not. No, he lived damn near 90. I think. He was
traveling secretary,
Woodhill member.
Yeah,
Woodhill member played. Brought in the great Foley Hoopa, the parsley farmer from the Orlando area as his partner every year in the men's. The men's.
Wasn't he a Virginian? Maybe.
Oh yeah, very southern.
Yeah,
very southern.
Was he the one that someone heard him yelling at somebody on the phone and he hung up and said, "Oh, don't worry, he's just talking to his wife"? Wasn't that Howard?
No. That was Brof.
Yeah.
George Brophy was a great guy, but with what you would refer to as an Irish temper.
I think Howard's allegiance in the Civil War would have been suspect.
Yes, I don't know who he would have been rooting for.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, I do know.
Gettysburg, but it wouldn't have been us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been us. I don't think he would have been.
Well, why don't you tell us about your boy, Phil Fleck?
Oh, boy, I cannot wait. I've been waiting all day.
I've been saying this for 2 days, but I got to get here. Did you watch? How much you watch?
I did.
How do you like the effort he has his team put forth, the daring chances they take when they're down in the fourth quarter?
Mm-hmm.
So it drives me craziest about him is he's trying to protect the size of the defeat instead of pull off some kind of a miraculous win. They start this fourth quarter down, 34-17, is it? 34.
I thought it was closer than that the first time I noticed it, but it wasn't much.
2 touchdowns, I think. But they're getting their ass kicked. And they go to the huddle. They talk to each other for about 20 seconds. They come out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no hurry up that you just go into the line and throw the ball all
no
over
urgency
until they get under 10 minutes. And he's trying not to get beat bad. That's just, and he's done that several times.
Well, last year against Michigan.
Yeah.
He did the same thing. They were down 35 points and he's running the ball.
Oh, yeah.
On 3rd and 11. I'm thinking, what are you doing?
He's trying to protect the size of the deficit.
Oh.
And to me, that is such a blatant example of over-the-top ego. It's unbelievable. His ego he doesn't want people to look back at the year by year, 5 years later, and see they got beat 49-14 or some 49-17. I don't know. But it's funny. People are saying, it's time for him to go. He's not. It cost them $22 million. They're not paying him 20. They made their decision last year when they gave him another extension. Another extension, for God's sake.
Well, how does he shake this? Because you can't continue this. You have to try to win.
Yes, I think so. And the schedule they got now isn't that tough. Everybody's talking about how tough it is. Southern Cal's okay. They'll probably come in here and win. You're going to lose at Michigan. You're not going to get them. You shouldn't get humiliated at Michigan because their offense sucks. And you're going to lose Southern Cal. But UCLA is terrible. They're going out there.
Well, they wanted Fleck last year, remember?
Yeah, right. You know how much they're paying their coach? $3 million.
Really?
You know how much we're paying our coach? 6.75. You think he's I love the prestige of UCLA. I'm going to go out there for a $2 million pay cut, for God. He and his agent ran that. And Coyle was probably in on it. They just wanted to give him another extension, so they just ran the whole scam about UCLA. He never was going to go to U because they're way in debt. Their athletic department's tremendously in debt.
How is that possible with the amount of money they're paying
Here's
out?
the deal. Southern Cal, private school, millions of dollars in donors who are devoted to the place. UCLA, all the state colleges out there are hurting for certain. And wow, UCLA is one of it. Plus, their home field is 28 miles from campus. Here, your home field is 2 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that was all a crock of crap? But I don't know. They're up 14-7 at halftime, and the whole stadium is giddy, and then boom.
I had some firsthand reports that said it was a really good atmosphere in the first half.
Yes.
It was a dreadful third quarter.
How did the Iowa relatives enjoy it?
Oh, I had a lot of text messages with various descriptions of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Houston travels well. I got a report there were a lot of Texans in downtown Minneapolis.
Wow.
Yep. A lot of Texans.
But, all NFL teams, the Vikings will have, when they go to warm weather in November, they get a lot, but even most routinely every 2-3 weeks.
Did you see the crowd shot of, was it Rappaport? I can't remember. It was a national writer covering the Niners-Rams game at SoFi
Okay.
It was 80% 49er fans.
Really?
And said, why did the Rams ever leave St. Louis? Because that's routine, apparently, with both the Rams and the Chargers.
With the Chargers, but they never regained the Rams.
I don't think so.
God, they won a Super Bowl. They should.
That's what I'm thinking. But if you, I'll see if I can find a Pat and send it to you. But it's 80% 49er fans at the stadium.
Does SoFi have any outside access, or is it completely enclosed?
No, I think.
Don't we have a door here that opens? You can pretend you're outside at this bank stadium.
When you look at the game with the open roof, it looks like daytime. But, we can open the windows if we want to.
On the side walls.
Do they ever do that?
The one that faces the open. That's what they did against the Niners, because it was apparently, I heard it was very humid at the Niners game a week ago, not yesterday, but a week ago. Yesterday.
Not as humid as the first ever NFL game exhibition played in the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome without air conditioning. Remember that one?
Yeah.
By the middle of the second quarter, there were 78 people left. We were all this festive game. Everybody was outside fanning themselves.
Did you ever write about the dome?
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey.
Look at this dump.
What
if
a
it
dump.
wasn't, you know what? If it wasn't for the dome, you would have never become a city-side columnist. You would have been a sports columnist.
Right.
There would have never been Garage Logic.
Never would have been a radio show.
Never been. It would have been. They did you a favor. Sid did you a favor by running you out of town.
That's the way you got to. That's the way you got to look at it.
That's a positive spin.
That's me. I always look for the positive spin.
Pat. Whatever happened when we tried positive Pat? Remember that bit we tried?
No. I still, I've been saying this, but I do at times. I think about it. Why did that show end up failing? And I thought the idea of what can we do to agitate them today, the audience, was just not.
I don't know that Joe's familiar. Are you familiar with the bit we tried, Joe?
Absolutely.
Positive Pat?
And he wouldn't listen to me. I said, that's not going to work. You can't do that.
So Manny and I would have to pick a topic, and we'd set him up, and he'd grit his teeth because he didn't know what was coming. Yeah. And I'd say things like, PJ Fleck, blah, blah, blah. You'd have to find something positive to say.
His first wife was nice. I hear, something like that. Something like that. Some cheap shot. I would say right now, though, on the local popularity meter, you got your Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
Up here. And then down there in the parking down below, underneath the grill of the cars where it's leaking oil down there, that's our Twinks right now.
Oof. And the Wild are, we don't know anything yet. They beat Winnipeg 5-2.
And I never heard of any of the guys that scored our goals. So it's all about.
And one of them already gets sent back to Red Deer or Medicine Hat.
We got an exhibition game. We have another one like tonight, or had one last night, or sometime.
Let me look on the agate here.
We
don't put them in here. Oh, yeah, we do. Wednesday, they're at Dallas.
Okay.
Friday, home to Winnipeg. Sunday, home to Dallas.
I'm invited to be among the media there Friday night to watch the game from the owner's suite, but I can't make it, So,
Bill, you got to be covering Baltimore and the Twins.
Yes, that night. That would be the end of it, right? Not Baltimore.
Now, the season ends Sunday, correct?
We have Baltimore Friday. Yep.
You got 3 with Miami, 3 with
Baltimore. Friday could be official elimination night.
Oof.
By then.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Well, if you lose, you could be eliminated before then.
Yeah.
So
I was supposed to take you to task because Kenny's very upset with you.
About what?
You need to stay off the Vikings bandwagon, he says. Because
but I was on it.
That's right. The tweet you had yesterday was spectacular.
Yeah.
It's time for some humility.
Yes.
Yes, I did state often that the Vikes would be better than expected, but I admit to never having said as is clear now that this would be the first Vikings team to win a Super Bowl.
Yes. Right.
God, you love stirring them up.
Yeah, you don't jinx them. Hey, am I supposed to?
We don't need a pause. We could just do the Valley Group at the end of the program today, so we don't need a pause today.
We're ready to roll here. I think we gave them some pretty damn good entertainment.
Let's see. Yeah, let's do the checklist. We did Vikes, we did Gophers, we did
we're
Twins.
throwing a little Lynx.
The Lynx big win yesterday.
They had to fight mightily, but Nafisa Collier was terrific again. And she was the runner-up MVP in the league. That Asa Wilson got all the first place votes, but she set the scoring record and all that.
And we also added to the
stunk it out
list
yesterday?
Who?
Caitlin. Ooh,
really?
Bad game.
I didn't think she was capable of that.
3 of 16 or something. And
were they beating her up?
I don't know what they were doing. She just make her shots. So
Joe, I'll admit, I didn't see it.
I did not either.
See it.
Yesterday was way too nice to be in the house.
I did see, however, the change up and Sands hitting the guy with a pitch with the bases loaded, and the Rock looking at it. They're showing Rock in the dugout, and boy, Morney was in full babble yesterday, though, trying to justify some of the nonsense we were seeing. It's Morney, once in a while, you just got to say, boy, do we stink today.
Is he, in all honesty, is he safe, Rocco?
I am really wondering, because these guys don't do a great job of taking responsibility. So I nobody's heard anything, but they fired Molitor out of nowhere
after winning the American League Manager of the Year the previous year.
They fired him out of nowhere. So I don't know. No idea. But I do know that they're going to have to change their ways of doing business next year, or they're in trouble.
So if they
have to right size the payroll again, they are in big trouble.
Wow, that would be bad for business. Oofta.
This has gotten so bad that perhaps plans for Turkey of the Year honors that were made a while back are going to have to be modified because everyone will be anticipating. Everybody will be too happy,
Right.
So anyway, I don't know. All right. See ya, Joe. How's the household? Everything calm?
Everything's good.
Everything's good. All right, that's good. Yeah. I made a big mistake today. The cleaners come every other Friday.
Sure.
I didn't leave the envelope with the money in it.
So
I got the emergency phone call.
Yeah.
Luckily, she had enough to cover it, but this is a...
Oh, that's going to hurt the game of floss. Oh,
right,
boy, you're going to be in trouble for
that.
Right
on the run, right off the bat. Early in the day.
On a Monday.
On a Monday. Early in the day.
Bad way to start the week.
Early in the day, you're already down 1-0.
Yeah. You are Pablo in the first inning. You're down 3 runs.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Right. Brett Paul and Jim Paul, the Valley Group of GM dealers.
I want to tell you about this, man.
I'm going to tell you that I saw this wagon I'm talking about.
Yes.
The Buick. I went over to look at it. It was parked on the street. It's the Regal.
Yeah.
That's a sharp wagon.
The bride's wants a new vehicle. We haven't figured out why, but I'm trying to. I said, let's go look at the Regal station wagon. What do you think? Because if we ever get another dog, he can sit in the back like Stout did. She was telling me Stout stories about when he was driving in her wagon, and she'd go in someplace and he'd get in the front and sit in the driver's seat because he didn't want anybody else climbing in. He just didn't want anybody else. She was telling me that her and her brother were driving back from someplace in Wisconsin, and Chaz was driving the wagon, and Stout sat in the back, and he was pissed off the whole trip. He's not supposed to be driving. You're supposed to be driving. He was a creature of culture. We miss him still all these years later. Anyway. All right. Brett Paul and excuse me. Let's go. Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. And one thing among the many things they're proud of is the staff that they have out there at Jim Paul. They have they have experience. They have people that can help you pick out the right car for you, right vehicle for you. And Neil Hanning, for instance, he was a top salesperson at Valley for over 2 decades. Probably the best truck guy around, Jim says. and he left for a management position elsewhere, but has come back. And he's back there to return to work with his thousands of old friends and customers. And if you're looking for one of those Sierra heavy-duty trucks, he's the guy to see. They got a similar story with Tim Condon, who spent many years in sales and finance at the Valley. He decided to go to Alaska. He didn't like Alaska. He's back. He came back. And to the relief of many of his friends and customers, he returned a few years back, and when you go out there to make a deal, he'll be helping you out, Neil. So anyway, they just have experienced people out there. I know that. I've worked with the same, now retired, but I worked with the same guy for many years, and they keep an experienced staff. It's not a bunch of 24-year-olds who are trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. They're real salespeople. Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley and Hastings. Check them out.